The rain battered the cobblestone streets of Lisbon, a relentless curtain of gray that blurred the city's golden charm. João Mendes stood at the edge of the tram stop, his worn jacket soaked through, clutching a small, tattered umbrella over his 7-year-old daughter, Sophia. Her tiny hand shivered in his, her bright eyes scanning the empty street. They were late for her dance class again, and João's heart sank with the familiar weight of guilt. He was doing his best as a single dad, but the world seemed to conspire against him lately. Bills piling up, odd jobs drying out, and Sophia's quiet disappointment cutting deeper than any failure. Then, through the downpour, he heard it. A chorus of frantic voices, a mix of languages tumbling over each other like a broken radio. A group of tourists stood huddled under a sagging awning, their faces etched with panic. João could have walked away. He should have. But something in their eyes stopped him, and that single moment changed his life forever. João approached cautiously, Sophia trailing behind, her sneakers splashing in puddles. The group, 8 people, drenched and disoriented, looked up at him like he was their last hope. A young man in a neon raincoat stepped forward, speaking rapid-fire Italian, gesturing wildly at a soggy map. Before João could respond, an older woman interrupted in German, her voice trembling as she pointed to her phone, its screen black and lifeless. A couple behind her chimed in with broken English, while another man muttered in Mandarin, shaking his head. João's mind raced. He wasn't just a handyman scraping by. He was a polyglot, a gift he'd honed over years of working odd jobs across Europe, picking up languages like souvenirs, Portuguese, Spanish, English, French, Italian, German, Mandarin, and even some Russian. It was a skill he rarely used now, buried under the grind of survival. But here, in this chaotic moment, it was all they needed. Calma, calma, João said softly, raising a hand. He switched to Italian, reassuring the young man that he'd help. Then, in German, he asked the older woman what happened. One by one, he unraveled their story, piecing together their words like a puzzle. The group, a mix of strangers who joined a budget tour, had been abandoned by their guide after a dispute over payment. Their bus had left without them, stranding them in an unfamiliar neighborhood with no map, no phone signal, and no shared language. They were soaked, scared, and hours from their hotel. João glanced at Sophia, who watched him with wide eyes, her dance class now a distant priority. He knew what he had to do. The first challenge hit hard. The group had no clear idea where their hotel was. The young Italian, Matteo, vaguely remembered it was near a big square with a statue, but Lisbon was full of squares and statues. João racked his brain, switching to English to ask the couple, Emma and Tom from Australia, if they had any receipts or booking details. Emma fumbled through her bag, producing a crumpled flyer with the hotel's name, Casa do Sol. João knew it, miles away, across the city. The trams were delayed due to the storm, and taxis were scarce. Walking was their only option, but the rain was merciless, and the older German woman, Frau Weber, was already shivering, her face pale. João's instinct was to protect Sophia first, but he couldn't abandon these people. He made a quick decision. He'd guide them, but he'd need to keep Sophia safe and warm. Sophia, stay close, he whispered, wrapping his jacket around her shoulders. She nodded, her trust in him unwavering despite the cold. João turned to the group, explaining the plan in their respective languages. They'd stick together, move slowly, and stop if anyone struggled. He gave Frau Weber his umbrella, ignoring her protests, and reassured Matteo, who seemed ready to bolt in frustration. The Mandarin-speaking man, Mr. Chun, offered João a grateful nod, while a quiet woman in a dark coat, whose language João hadn't yet identified, stayed at the back, her face unreadable. They set off, a ragtag procession winding through Lisbon's narrow streets, João leading like a reluctant shepherd. The second challenge was the city itself. Lisbon's charm lay in its labyrinthine alleys, but in a storm, those alleys became treacherous. Cobblestones were slick, and visibility was near zero. João kept the group close, calling out directions in multiple languages, his voice steady despite the knot in his chest. Sophia clung to his hand, her small frame trembling, and João's guilt grew. He should be home with her, making her favorite caldo verde, not dragging her through a deluge. Halfway through their trek, Frau Weber stumbled, gasping as her ankle twisted. Joao caught her just in time, his arms straining under her weight. The group froze, panic rising again. Matteo shouted in Italian, blaming the storm, while Emma and Tom tried to calm him in English. Joao knelt beside Frau Weber, speaking softly in German, checking her ankle. It wasn't broken, but she couldn't walk far. He glanced around, spotting a small cafe still open, its warm light a beacon in the gloom. The cafe owner, an old friend named Miguel, took one look at Joao's soaked group and waved them in. Joao explained the situation in Portuguese, and Miguel offered hot tea and blankets, refusing payment. The group collapsed into chairs, their relief palpable. Joao sat Sofia by the counter, wrapping her in a blanket and ordering her a pastel de nata, her favorite treat. Her smile, small but real, eased the ache in his chest. As the group warmed up, Joao learned more about them. Matteo was a student, desperate to get back for an exam. Mr. Chun was visiting his son, who lived in Lisbon but was unreachable. Emma and Tom were newlyweds, their dream trip turning into a nightmare. Frau Weber, a retired teacher, admitted she'd been scared she wouldn't make it. The quiet woman in the dark coat, who finally spoke in French, introduced herself as Claire. She thanked Joao softly, her voice steady but her eyes guarded. Joao didn't pry. He was just glad they were safe for now. The third challenge came when Joao realized the storm wasn't letting up. Miguel warned him that the river was rising and some streets were flooding. The group needed to move soon, but Frau Weber's ankle was swelling, and Sophia was starting to cough, a sound that stabbed Joao's heart. He felt the weight of every decision pressing down. Keep going and risk their health, or stay and risk being stranded. Claire, who'd been mostly silent, stepped forward. In flawless French, she suggested splitting the group. Those who could walk faster should go ahead to the hotel and send help back. Joao hesitated. Splitting up meant trusting strangers to follow through, and he couldn't leave Frau Weber or Sophia behind. But Claire's calm logic cut through his doubt. She offered to stay with Frau Weber, promising to keep her safe. Joao searched her face, seeing something he couldn't place: strength, maybe, or resolve. He agreed, reluctantly. Joao led Matteo, Mr. Chun, Emma, and Tom through the flooded streets, Sophia tucked against his side. The rain stung his face, and every step felt heavier, but he kept talking, switching languages to keep them focused. Matteo joked about Joao's linguistic wizardry, calling him the human Google Translate, and even Sophia giggled, easing the tension. After what felt like hours, they reached Casa do Sol, a modest hotel glowing warmly against the dark. The manager, a harried woman named Anna, gasped at their state and sprang into action, calling for towels and a car to fetch the others. Joao explained Claire and Frau Weber's situation, and Anna promised to send help immediately. Exhausted, Joao sank into a lobby chair, Sophia curling up beside him. He stroked her damp hair, whispering apologies for missing her dance class. She hugged him tightly, saying, "You're my hero, Papai." His throat tightened, tears mixing with the rain on his face. Back at the cafe, Claire sat with Frau Weber, keeping her calm with stories of her travels. When the hotel's car arrived, Claire helped Frau Weber hobble out, thanking Miguel profusely. By the time they reached Casa do Sol, the group was reunited, their gratitude spilling over. Matteo clapped Joao on the back, Mr. Chun bowed deeply, and Emma and Tom promised to visit him someday. Frau Weber, her ankle bandaged, took Joao's hand, her eyes wet. "You saved us," she said in German. Joao brushed it off, saying he just did what anyone would. But Claire lingered, watching him with that unreadable expression. She handed him a business card, saying in French, "If you ever need anything, call me." Joao pocketed it without a second thought, too tired to notice the embossed logo or the title beneath her name. The next morning, Joao and Sophia returned to their routine, the night's chaos fading like a dream. Joao went back to his handyman jobs, patching roofs and fixing pipes, while Sophia chattered about her dance recital. Weeks passed, and the business card sat forgotten in a drawer. Then, one day, Joao's phone rang, an unknown number with a Paris area code. It was Claire's assistant, inviting Joao to a meeting in Lisbon. Confused but curious, Joao agreed. When he arrived at a sleek office downtown, he was stunned to see Claire, not in a rain-soaked coat, but in a tailored suit, her presence commanding. She introduced herself